Do you think that helps when people can go back and see you in '09, putting stuff out with some camcorder, that's like not edited very well and bad lighting, just to show that you've been doing this and committed to this for so long?
I think so. I mean, there's an irony behind that camera, actually. It wasn't until about, and I'm being totally honest, about 3 weeks ago that we actually changed that camcorder out. So I still use that same one for 11 years. Wow. More so because of just being, I think that's kind of represents me. Like, just be true to the message. It's about the message. It's not necessarily about, the beauty of the shot and everything. For me, I want to get the content out there. So I stubbornly resisted the switch of camera for so long, even though when Jesse came on board, he's like, you got to get rid of this equipment, man. This is old. But now, granted, the newer videos we put out look way better and look way nicer. But again, I do think it's important to just put out the good content as opposed to really worrying about the fluff around it.
Yeah, you look at your top 5 videos, and I want to get into them later. It's obviously because you've gone super deep on real practical content that people are consuming. It's not because you got the latest gimbal. It's not because you're doing it with a celebrity. It's because it's like you really want these messages to get out there, and that's what people consume. So.
Yeah, I believe so. I think that that's what makes people stick to anything. Like, they're gonna watch your show because they like it, they're entertained, they're enjoying the content. It's not necessarily because of how fancy, although this is a beautiful place in here that you got, but it's about what the content is, always.
Yeah. Tell me about this new day and age of social media influencers, which didn't exist when you started back in the day. It didn't really exist even 5 years ago, where now I'm sure there's tons of people out there throwing out fitness advice.
Yeah.
And I can already see your demeanor. And yet a lot of them, they can't.
Moving in my chair.
You're moving in your chair. They don't necessarily walk the walk. They talk the talk, but you see them and you don't always necessarily agree that they're the ones that should be preaching that message. Tell me about how you feel about that and what you see in this current day and age.
I mean, I'm not one to judge anybody in terms of who should or should not be delivering content, but because I think if you have a passion for it, it's a good starting spot. And a lot of these people might have a passion for it, but it goes, as I've always believed, that there's a requirement for the responsibility you have as the creator to put out information that's going to benefit people and not hurt them, right? So what happened was there was this evolution over the years where everyone's got a channel. Everybody can start a channel today. They can start an Instagram account if they want. They can start a YouTube channel. But what are the requirements for the content that they put out there? It could be bad advice. Just because it's advice doesn't mean it's good advice. And there's a lot of bad advice being thrown out there. And the other thing that sort of happened was there's this sort of invitation to just copy other people. So if they look at someone like me and they say, oh, Jeff's doing this stuff that's science-based, I'm going to do science-based info. And they sort of recite what they hear. It doesn't mean they understand what they hear. And I've actually seen it firsthand where there's videos out there where people are like reciting the fancy words and getting them all wrong, where they're talking about abduction and they're adducting. And there's a lot of that out there, and it's very phony to me. But unfortunately, people that are watching it, that are learning from a lot of these people, they don't know it's phony because they hear the fancy word and they think that that's what it's supposed to be. And then they go further and they kind of try some of the exercises that they might tell them to do that are downright ridiculous and could hurt people. So I just think that there, along with being able to, the ease of access to start the platform, there should be some requirement that you have to withhold a certain level of education and responsibility to put out high quality content that's actually safe, and I think that's where we kind of have maybe missed the mark a little bit.